The money sitting in your bank account right now, it's not yours. Not really. It's a number on a screen, and that number is about to be weaponized against you. You might think I'm talking about inflation or some bank fees, but I'm not. I'm talking about a new kind of money that is coming, a fatal, doomed system that is designed to end your financial freedom forever. This is the biggest crisis facing your savings, your privacy, and your ability to live a life free from constant surveillance. It's called a central bank digital currency, or CBDC. And if you think this is just some boring government proposal, you need to understand one simple truth. The world is about to change in a way that makes every dollar you earn, every purchase you make, and every penny you save completely and totally controlled by the people in power. They say it's about convenience. They say it's about efficiency. They say it's about stopping criminals. But the real terrifying truth is that a CBDC is not about making your life easier. It is about building a digital cage. And when that cage is finished, the key will be held by the government, and they will decide when you get permission to use your own money. To truly grasp this fatal threat, we have to look past the technical words and understand what programmable money means in simple terms. Right now, when you use a $20 bill, that money is private. You don't have to ask permission to spend it. The government doesn't know where it goes. It's anonymous. When you use your debit card, the transaction is tracked by the bank, but that money, even the digital kind, is still fundamentally neutral. It's just a dollar. A CBDC is different. A CBDC is digital cash issued directly by the central bank. And here is the key word. It is programmable. Think of your current money as a simple tool, like a basic hammer. It just does one thing. Programmable money is a smart tool, and it has an operating system. That system has rules, and those rules are written by the government. This is the difference between a simple dollar and a weapon of economic control. The thesis for this video is simple and deadly. Programmable money will end financial freedom, because it turns your currency into a weapon of compliance that can be turned off, restricted, and tracked with a single line of code. Let's explore exactly how this future of surveillance and control will be built, brick by digital brick. The first and most immediate problem with programmable money is the fatal collapse of privacy. Every transaction you make with a CBDC will be recorded, not by your bank, but by the central bank itself, and that data will be permanent. This is not guesswork. This is the stated function of these systems. Imagine buying a book, donating $5 to a political group the government doesn't like, or spending money at a store run by someone who has spoken out against certain policies. Right now, that's your business. In a CBDC world, every single one of those actions becomes a permanent entry in a government ledger, tied directly to your digital ID. This level of total financial surveillance is historically unprecedented, and every time an empire or a state has tried to gain this level of control over its people's money, it has ended in tyranny and economic collapse. Think back to the Soviet Union. The state wanted to control everything. Cash was heavily restricted, and large transactions needed state permits. Why? Because the Soviet government understood that if you control the money, you control the people. They needed to track every ruble to ensure people were only buying what the state wanted them to buy and not participating in any unapproved markets. But even then, they could never fully win. Why? Because people found ways around it. They bartered. They traded physical goods. A teacher was paid in food. A factory worker was paid in car parts. The black market, running on cash and favors, became the real economy because people needed a way to transact outside the state's fatal control. The difference now is that a CBDC eliminates the escape route. There is no physical cash to hide. There is no parallel economy to run away to. You are permanently tied into the single, visible, controllable system. This leads us to the most terrifying part of programmable money, the ability to restrict what you can buy, when you can buy it, and where you can spend it. This is where the money literally becomes a weapon. The central bank could program your money in several ways. Expiration dates, the use it or lose it trap. Your money could be programmed with a time limit. If you don't spend certain funds within a month, they simply disappear. This is designed to force economic activity, to force people to spend and not save. Imagine getting your paycheck and the government decides, you must spend this money on goods and services within 90 days to stimulate the economy, or it becomes worthless. Your money is no longer a store of value. It is a ticking time bomb. Purchase restrictions, the approved economy. This is the truly fatal blow to personal freedom. The money could be coded to be invalid for certain purchases. Think about it. A digital wallet that refuses to pay for certain types of fuel or certain types of food or to donate to certain causes. They will justify this with things like protecting the climate or public safety, but the mechanism is the same. They decide what you are allowed to own and what kind of life you are allowed to live. We don't need to imagine this dystopian future. It is already being tested. Look at the digital yuan in China. This is the clearest example of how programmable money integrates with a social credit system. If your social credit score is too low perhaps because you voiced a political opinion, or you have too many traffic violations, or you simply didn't comply with a certain rule, your money literally stops working for certain things. You can't buy high-speed train tickets. You can't book flights. You are economically punished for not complying with the state's rules. Your money exists, but you are forbidden from using it to live your life. This is the fatal crisis. Your money becomes conditional. It works only if you comply. And the control goes even deeper. The push for a cashless society through CBDCs is the only thing that can unlock two of the most destructive financial tricks in history: negative interest rates and bank bail-ins. Let's start with negative interest rates. This is a concept where the bank charges you a fee to keep your money saved. Instead of getting 1% interest, you might be charged negative 1%. They are slowly draining your account. Right now, this concept is almost impossible to enforce on a large scale. Why? Because of cash. If your bank suddenly says, we are going to charge you 1% to hold your savings, what do? You walk to the ATM, you withdraw all your money, and you keep it under your mattress or in a safe. You escape the penalty. Cash is your escape valve. But in a cashless world, where the only thing that exists is programmable CBDC money, that escape valve is sealed shut. You are forced to keep your money in the digital system. If the central bank decides to implement negative interest rates to try and force people to spend and juice the economy, and they have been talking about this for years, you have two choices, and both are fatal. Either you watch your savings slowly disappear, or you spend the money on things you don't want or need just to avoid the penalty. This is not economic freedom. It is economic coercion. The final and perhaps most catastrophic piece of the puzzle is the bank bail-in. Think back to the financial crisis that swept across the world. When a bank gets into fatal trouble, the government usually steps in and uses taxpayer money to save it. This is called a bailout. But in 2013, something completely different happened in Cyprus. When the Cypriot banks were on the verge of collapse, the government didn't bail them out. Instead, they performed a bail-in. They seized money directly from the accounts of depositors. If you had over a certain amount of savings, they simply took a percentage of it, just erased it from your account to recapitalize the doomed banks. People woke up to find their life savings gone. This wasn't a one-off mistake. It was a fatal lesson learned by the world's major economies. The G20, the group of the world's largest economies, has since agreed that bail-ins are the preferred method for future banking crises. And here is the critical link to CBDCs. In a world with physical cash, you have a chance. You can see the crisis coming, withdraw your savings, and secure your money outside the failing bank. But in a cashless world, where your money is nothing more than a few lines of code inside the central banking system, there is no way to withdraw it. Your savings are completely vulnerable to a sudden catastrophic seizure. They exist only in the system, and the system can take them whenever it decides it needs to save itself. Let's put all this together and look at the inevitable doomed climax of this plan. Imagine a future where a major economic crisis hits. Maybe there's a new pandemic, maybe there's a new war, Or maybe it's simply a debt collapse. The government, now in full control of the CBDC system, doesn't need to send the police. They don't need to pass a single law. They simply need to type a command. You have been speaking out online about the government's handling of the crisis. You've been attending protests. You've been donating small amounts of money to an opposition group. The system flags you as a disruptor. Your social credit or compliance score drops below an acceptable level. The climax of the CBDC system is this. The government doesn't prosecute you. They don't even freeze your whole account. They just rewrite the code. Suddenly, your digital money is programmable. You go to the grocery store to buy food for your family, and your digital wallet says, "Transaction invalid." You try to pay your rent, and the transfer fails. You try to book a bus ticket, and the system rejects you. Your money still technically exists, but it has been remotely restricted. It is geo-fenced away from your town. It is programmed to reject certain categories of purchases. It has an expiration date of tomorrow. You are not arrested. You are simply economically erased. You cannot buy, you cannot travel, you cannot transact. In the eyes of the digital system, you no longer exist as a participating member of society. This is the fatal crisis. In a world without cash, there is no plan B. There is no escape. You cannot barter, and you cannot survive outside the system that just cut you off. You are helpless, and you are entirely dependent on the permission of the very people who decided you were a threat. The war on cash is not coming. It is already here, and it is being fought one transaction at a time, justified with easy, simple words like efficiency and modernization. But the result is a system that is fundamentally fatal to freedom. The path is clear. Eliminate cash, force everyone into the digital cage, introduce programmable currency, and then control the population through economic coercion, backed up by the guaranteed collapse of savings through negative rates and bail-ins. This is not a conspiracy theory. This is the stated plan of central banks across the globe. They are not hiding it. They are counting on you not paying attention. The rise of programmable money is the fatal end of individual financial sovereignty. Once cash is gone, the privacy, the independence, and the ability to transact without asking permission will be gone forever. If you want to keep watching and fighting for your economic freedom, hit that subscribe button now